Welcome back, everybody, to Creating Hanley. I am Kimberly at Creating Hanley, and in today's episode, we are doing another crumb block, but a little bit differently today. So this jumbled mess behind me, I got an inspiration. I was helping talk a friend through some issues. It took 2 hours on the phone, and I got off the phone, and I thought, I just need to do a crumb block. I just need to do many crumb blocks. And so that's what we're doing right now. And of course, Sabrina has to join me because she always does. Are you ready? Are we going to do a crumb block? Are we going to do a crumb block? Come on, let's show the people how we can do a crumb block. All right. So, yes, you're silly. So I found this. It's not a crumb. This is definitely not a crumb. This is a Scrappy. Yeah, I can't work like this. This is not good. Anyway, this is a Scrappy strip, and I want to use it. So I pulled out my dryer sheet foundation, and I thought, maybe I'll just use the whole dryer sheet instead of half of it. Okay, little one, let's go. What are we doing now? Come on. Let's go. Go. Oh my, guys. I don't like her up there at all. A whole stack of dryer sheets just fell to the floor, but that's okay. So anyway, where was I before I was rudely interrupted? So this is a full-size dryer sheet. This is when I cut it in half. So the way I cut it in half is I just take the short ends and I line up the short ends corner to corner. And then I take my fabric scissors and I just slide the one of the blades in the center there, and I just pull it tight and then cut, pull it tight and cut. And that's how I don't measure it very well at all. I just do that, and you should get two pretty much equal halves. So that is how I get a dryer sheet of about 4 inches by 6 inches. So it is not square, it is a rectangle. So you want to try to keep them as uniform as possible. So when you sew your strips over, you want to make sure that all of your strips hang off the side of your dryer sheet so that when you trim them all uniform. So I have a bunch here, so all of your crumb blocks are the same size. Okay? And when I fill up my little fabric box, then I think I'll have, well, I already have enough to do something with them now, but I'll have definitely enough to do at least several projects with them. Anyway, I digress again. So I thought I wanted to use this big piece, but how was I going to do that this way? So if I wanted to keep the Pittsburgh word in there, how would I align this so that it would stay? Here, let me bring it down. So how would I align this so that it would stay, the word show completely, and here I have like. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want the foundation showing. So I thought, well, I could just maybe line up this, and then that would work if I kind of like pretend that's where the edges would be. Like, that would work. Of course it would. And then maybe like this would work too. But one way to make sure you know exactly where you want your pieces to be. So, yes, this is Scrappy, but we are doing an intentional Scrappy today. So I guess that's what I'm going to title this, Intentional Scrappy. So, if I take this, my scrap piece, and I place the foundation on top of it, because this is a dryer sheet, you can see through it. And then, if I place this on top, I know where, it's like a window. I know where I should pre-cut so that I have a perfect measured, quote, measured piece that I can use. So I know this piece of fabric underneath will cover the majority of the fabric of the foundation. This, whatever this dryer sheet is. You can use a foundation fabric if you want. You can use a fusible webbing. You can use interfacing, whatever works for you. I'm just happen to have this here. So anyway, it acts as a window. And now I know if I cut here and here, that will definitely hang off the edges of my dryer sheet. Now, do I have to have it this wide? No. I can cut this and then just use it, but then if I place another piece on top of it, say like I have this piece, I can place, instead of placing it here on the edge and then sewing your seam allowance there and then, you know, folding that over that way, that's a lot. So what you could do if you don't want to cut that is just place your next piece anywhere you want to. You do your seam allowance, and then when you flip that over, that is where that would be, right? Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, and you can do the same up here. So if you think, oh, I don't want my next piece to be way out here where this edge is, you can always trim it off, or you can just place your next piece where you might want it to be, and then you sew that down, and then voila, just like so. Okay, so let's do that in real time. So I am just going to use some scissors. So if I place, oh, you don't need to see me. If I place this right here, corner to corner, I know that Pittsburgh word will be in my block. So now, for example, if I use this one, and I try to finagle, like I might be able to get that in there. I might be able to get that to work, but it'll be close, like it'll be really close. So I could try it. It'll be close. You know what? I'm gonna try it anyway. I'm just gonna try this one. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. So let's just cut that right there. Okay. So now, I'm actually going to trim some of this off too. So I will use a ruler for this one. And you guys can kind of see that. Let me bring this in a little bit more. So I'm just going to trim a little bit above the Pittsburgh word. So maybe, you definitely want a 1/2 inch if you're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So, you know, allow yourself enough room for the seam allowance. And there we go. Okay, now I've just created a new strip for another project, or the same project. So there's that now. And I am going to clean up the bottom edge also. There we go. Not that it has to be, but here's a super, super thin scrappy strip. So let's take this over here. And now I know the P of Pittsburgh, if I take this on the top here, is just right on the inside of the seam allowance. So it will be close, but we could do it. So let's place this down. Alright, and so you can see now how that hangs over. Okay, now I think I will take a yellow. Let me iron this crease out right here. I'll take a yellow and we'll put it on the top, just like so. Now, take you over to the machine and I'm going to use a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure you start and stop off of the, so you can see start and stop off of the, oh, you can't see that. Start and stop off of the foundation piece, and then when you flip this over, you open it up. So you put right sides together, line them up on the edge, sew your seam allowance, and then flip it open. You can finger press or you can iron, and then you can tell 100% if you flip it over on the back, you can see through your foundation piece. So this covers, this P is part of, let me bring that up. Part of, you know, what am I trying to say? It's on top of your foundation, just barely, but it is there. So if I am smart, I will take the rest of my pieces and let me just kind of pretend here. So I'm just going to take more of my pieces and I'm going to hang it over on this edge a little bit more so that when I trim, maybe I can trim a little bit off, a little bit more, so that saves that P. If that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? All right. Let's do maybe, I don't want to use a black here because that is black. I could use a black up here. This is a thin black. So Steelers are black and gold, of course. All of the Pittsburgh major league sports teams are black and gold. But Pittsburgh also has blue and red in their logo, so they have yellow, blue, and red. And of course, every sport team has white as well. So it's, for the Steelers, it's gold, red, red, blue, gold, or red, blue, yellow, black, and of course white. And it's yellow, blue, and red for the logo of Steel. So here's a little history for you guys. Where is this Steeler logo right here? You can kind of see that. This one right here, the blue, red, and yellow. This is the this right here is the logo of, not the Steelers, but this is a logo of steel, making steel. So Pittsburgh used to be a steel mill town where steel was manufactured, and that's kind of how the Steelers came about. It's a whole long history there, but that's how that name came. So anyway, and that logo, that's how that logo came about too. Again, I digress. I've been digressing this whole time. So, sew that down, open it up, and voila, another strip. So I could put something else right here, another yellow. Here's a little yellow one, maybe this will work. Let's try this. So again, when you're coming off to the corners, like I've said in previous videos, you want to make sure that when you put your next piece down, it covers everything. And this one does. This covers every piece. Now, if it didn't, I would have to do the next one. But if it was a little short, like this way, a little short, you can see the foundation underneath. You don't want to do that. Okay, so let's put this down and use whatever seam allowance you're using. So I'm using a scant 1/4 inch. And when I flip this open, you can see how narrow this black strip is, and that's cool. Now, because I like to work with flat fabric, you can finger press, of course, but I'm gonna just iron that down. I use a dry iron, and there you go. That's more flat. Okay, and maybe this next piece I want white. Do I want white there? No, I don't think I do. Maybe I want this yellow piece right here. I think that's a little too... Here we go. This is the perfect yellow. All right, let's throw this down, and it overhangs on both sides. Okay. Using my scant 1/4 inch. Okay, open that up. Finger press. And there we have preserved the Pittsburgh red. Oh my gosh, black and gold, black and gold. So in that theme, I want to do another black. And going to my pile behind me, I have this black, which kind of looks like metal, doesn't it? A little bit. So let's use this. So here's the pretty side. We'll put the pretty side down. Now I have, look at how much I have. Yes, I have so much of this. Oh my gosh. A big old pile here. So what I'm going to do is take my scissors and snip. There we go. Okay. Take this back to the machine. Make sure I line up where I want it to be. Now, if you can see on camera here, this yellow strip is a little bit wider here and it goes more narrow this way. If I want to leave that, then what I can do is just line up this edge perfectly. But if I don't want to preserve that wonkiness of it, then I can line this up to make it a little bit more straight. And so you can see I lined it up on this edge, but then I left some underneath fabric hanging out. So I could use this sew line as my guide if I wanted to. Use that sew line as my guide so that my fabric stays straight if I really wanted to. So it would look like that. Or I could use this word as my guide, and that would keep this line in the same line as this, right? That makes sense. So I think I'm going to do that. And then start off of your foundation and end off of your foundation. Okay? Open that up. Now you can see that's a little bit more straight, that line there. Now this last little corner here gets a yellow piece just because I'm alternating black and gold, black and gold. Alright, and so the very end, what do I have behind me? Maybe this light yellow right here. Actually, I like the scrappiness of this, so I'm going to applique this on top. So let me, again, I have a big long tail here, so I'm just going to cut this off. And I'm just going to applique, and applique just means it's on top. So I'm going to sew this straight like that. Now I have white in here, so I think that'll be good enough. Okay. If I can get that on there. There we go. So because I'm applicating, I'm going to back stitch when I get to the end. There we go. So just like that. And then when you flip it over, you can see the foundation. There we go. All right. And there is our Scrappy Steelers block. Now I'm going to take it over to my cutting board. So I'm going to change the camera around a little bit here for you. Right over here. Oops. I'm sorry, guys. Right over here this way. So hopefully you can see that. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over, and because this is, you know, transparent, I can see everything. So I want to preserve that P in here. So when I do my measurements, this is a 6 by 6 square. I just want to do 6 by 4. So 4 inches ends right here at this 4. So we're going to do that. Now, at this edge, I want to make sure I preserve that as much of that P as possible without going off of the fabric, if you know what I mean. So I want to make sure I capture all of the fabric as much as possible by this P, so I can preserve that. And I think I can do that right here. All right. Okay, now I don't have my twirling mat with me. It's over somewhere else. Okay, now that I just lifted this up, I want to make sure that I place it back in the exact same spot. So line up this line, line up this edge. Here's my 4 inches down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 6 across is the whole block. So, okay, and there we go. There is our Pittsburgh Scrappy block. I love it. Check it out. Awesome. And we preserved the P. All right, and that's how you do that, guys. Happy creating. Have fun. Now, not all of you are in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that's fine. You can use whatever you want. This is just an example of how to work with maybe a directional fabric or a print or something that you want to preserve. Even if it is scrappy, maybe you want it to be, you know, specific. So, you know, like this has words on it too. This has, oh, here's Pittsburgh Penguins. So this has words on it too. This is a directional fabric. This is motorcycle. So that's your example. If you want something that's directional, or you have words that you want to read, then that's one way. There's many ways, but that's one way that you can ensure that you get everything in your block. And it's still even a little scrappy because it's not centered. So that's even cool too. There you go. All right. Happy creating. I want to see your blocks, guys. Hit like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends, because this is an addiction. Crumb blocks are addicting. All right. Love y'all. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.